Wait. Gonna need another phone stand because Ba, 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 ba. Maybe we need to adjust this a little bit up. Oof, let's see if that's not too much. Now a little bit down. Can't it ever just be perfect like this? All right. I think that's pretty good. Tap 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 tap. Good morning, 早上好, Vlad. Good morning, good morning. How is it going? How is it going? Happy Monday, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Welcome back. We're gonna get started soon. I think this one we're gonna more than likely have some disagreements. It's gonna be fun. Good morning, Yuri Tian. 早上好. Do I have Twitch on my phone? You know what I'm supposed to do? I'm supposed to put Twitch on my computer, YouTube on my phone, and WeChat as a as a podcast. That's what I'm supposed to be doing. So I need to get on it. I need to optimize because like it's just ridiculous to not do this by now. Looks like I still need some more headspace. Yeah, just a little bit. That's good. I just want to be able to see that green line right at the top, the headspace. All right. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? So we have about 2 minutes left before we really jump into it. Before we really get into the topic. Man, today is going to be an interesting day. I will tell you that. Let me go into my chill box. I don't know. We're gonna chill here. Study room, chill box, jam box. Jukebox, study room. Maybe I should just go into a chill box. But you know what? Let me let it rock out. It's okay. Good morning, Martin. 早上好. Good morning. Buenos días. Ohayou gozaimashita. Hello, everybody. Guten Tag or guten Morgen. Guten Morgen. Guten Morgen. I don't know how to say it properly. I didn't learn a single lick of German when I went to Germany. See, I'm more willing to learn German than I am French. That's for damn sure. Lemon and chicken. Did you guys see my post about my dinner last night? I made some chicken breasts with carrots, chincai, and some lemon juice. It was great. It was delicious. It was splendid. But I must admit that the seasoning came with the chicken. It was like a Louisiana Cajun seasoning or something like that. Oh my God, it's so good. I need to buy it separately so I can just season all my own chicken with it because it's so freaking good. I love it. I love it. And I love that it didn't come out dry either. I'm very, very about dry chicken. Now, that makes me think because the texture wasn't very much like chicken breast. It was more like chicken thigh. Huh. I'll figure it out. All right. It is 8 a.m. I really want to wait a little bit for the room to get busier because I want there to be enough people that there's going to be like different perspectives about what I'm going to say. Just because here's the thing, no matter what I'm discussing or what I bring up, I have a policy, right? Is that whether I'm right or wrong, you would always get a good result. And this is what I mean. And by you, I mean me. Maybe you also get a good result. But basically it's like this. If I'm right, that's great. That means I learned something correctly, right? And I'm also giving the right information. If I'm wrong and I'm corrected, then that means I learned something and information that was incorrect previously now becomes correct. No matter how I look at a situation where I disagree with somebody or we have a different perspective or different information even, I still see it as something positive because no matter what, I'm going to learn from the experience. All right, so today we are going to be talking about entitlement. Entitlement, ladies and gentlemen. I want to highlight this and make it perfectly clear. Entitlement, in some strange, rare occasions, entitlement can be something good, actually. I know that sounds a little bit bizarre, but it can be something good. Again. Now, is it likely to be something good? Probably not. I can tell you guys, at least from our perspective, 9 times out of 10 anyway, from our perspective, entitlement is not looked at as something positive, right? Okay, give me a second. I need to mute myself. So entitlement is definitely not a good thing, usually, right? But we're going to get into it either way. I have to give you the pros and the cons. We have to be able to contrast this situation. Okay. Yes, DG was an entertainment city. I think the entertainment city became Guangzhou or Shenzhen, more than likely Shenzhen. So here we go. What I want to get into is there's a certain video that's circulating that you guys probably know about. It's a really popular video. And in that video, there is a Christmas tree. Can you guess which video I'm talking about? All right, while you guys figure that part out, I'm going to continue on entitlement, okay? So, what is entitlement? Let me go verbatim. Definition: the belief that one inherently deserves certain privileges or special treatment, regardless of effort or circumstances. So that basically means even if you did nothing, even if you've done absolutely nothing, just because of, let's say, your identity or where you were born or your family or something like this, you might feel that you are entitled to certain things. So let's see. If, let's say, for example, your dad is a very rich person. He worked really hard. He built a really great company. And as his child, you may feel entitled to his money. I gave an example similar to this when we were talking about Bill Gates. We were saying, oh, Bill Gates says he doesn't want to give his children any of his money because they should earn their own way in life, blah, 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 right? So when you look at that situation, you're like, well, he's my dad. And if anything happens to him, I'm entitled to his money. hold on there, not necessarily. Because if he specifically signs off his money and donates it to charity or whatever, then you do not receive his money. Now, a lot of people disagreed with that. They said, it's not fair. If those are your kids, they should be entitled to your money. But the key word is your money. That money belongs to Bill Gates. It doesn't belong to his kids. So if he wants to burn it, he can burn it. If he wants to spend it on really unethical things in Vegas, then he can do that. If he wants to spend it on, making rockets like Musk does and just waste all the money, then he can do that too. So the point is that money just belongs to whoever earned it. So it doesn't belong to his kids. This is a bit of what entitlement is like. Now, we carry a lot of different types of entitlement depending on who we are, where we are from, but we can reverse it as well. Now, let's say if you have children, right? Even if they are adult children, if you have a child or a son or a daughter, rather, who's like in their 20s, maybe you will feel entitled that just because you are the parent, they must listen to you. They must listen to whatever it is you want them to do. It doesn't matter that they are adults. But again, if they are adults and they take care of themselves and they spend their own money and they earn their own money, that's it. That's where we draw the line. Those children that you had are now independent adults. You should not feel entitled to dictate anything in their lives just because you are a parent. Okay, so if we understand the definition of entitlement, just type in 1 and just let me know. We can continue from there. If you guys have any issues understanding entitlement, type in 2. But if we're good and we can continue, type in 1, and then we'll discuss the issue with the video I was talking about. Oh, quick note, guys. If you're in the chill box in Discord, I cannot hear you. It is deafened because I have other things running at the same time. Doing a podcast really quick. Really quick. Okay, it looks like we can continue. That's good. I just want to record it using the background of the Discord page because it's actually much nicer than what I've been using. All right, let's continue. Good morning, Mr. Black, and Reginald is also here. Let's see. Hey, good morning, Iris. I missed Iris. There we go. Okay, so guys, I talked about this video just a few minutes ago, and I want to know if you guys are familiar with it. So, in Sichuan, there was a Christmas tree in the mall, right? And there is a video of this Christmas tree on fire. Are you guys familiar with the video I'm talking about? If you're familiar, just say yes. If you're not familiar, just say no. Let's wait for that. Good morning, Ann. No. Ooh, interesting. Actually, I expected everyone to be familiar with this. I did not know I would get so many no's. Look at that. So it looks like my initial assumption was actually correct. Okay, so here's the thing, guys. Because we're only on audio, I can't show you images right now. Otherwise, I would just show you the video. But later, after the podcast is over, I suggest that you can go on WeChat or YouTube or whatever you use and just type in Sichuan Christmas tree fire, okay? Now, here's the thing. There was a guy, I don't know where he's from, to be honest with you. I can't really determine that based on his accent or anything, but it's not important where he's from. The point is that he's also a content creator. I think he's a gamer more than anything. From what I saw, it seems like he plays League of Legends or something. I don't know, but that's not the point. So he made a video, or he posted a video where he was talking about this particular incident where there was a fire in Sichuan, in the mall, due to the Christmas tree. Now, here's the thing. So many assumptions are being made, okay? When I saw it, the first thing that came to my mind was some idiot didn't do a good job setting up the electrical for that Christmas tree. Because we've had Christmas tree fires in New York City all the time. All the time. There are a lot of lights. There's a lot of wiring. There's a lot of electronics involved. So it's very, very easy for one of those things to just spark up and light on fire. Christmas tree lights are not exactly high quality. Let's put that out there. Let's make that perfectly clear. So what happened was there was a fire, obviously. We don't know exactly how it started. A lot of people speculated, well, Westerners in particular, speculated that someone lit the Christmas tree on fire. That doesn't really, I don't think that's like the most logical explanation to jump into, but okay, sure. And then my speculation of the matter is that it must have been an electrical fire, because electrical fires are actually very, very common with Christmas trees. Think about it. You have this big, dry pine piece of wood, this tree, and you cover it in electrical wires and lights. What do you think is going to happen? It's not rocket science, okay? But, you know, sometimes it's difficult for people to like put two and two together and understand that this is a thing that happens. All right. So here's my criticism. And I'm gonna point out, a lot of people said I was wrong for this, right? For my comments. So here's my thing. Whenever I comment on these kind of videos, I make sure I don't make any personal attacks. I don't talk about the individual who is commenting. I talk about the situation. I talk about the case in point, right? Which is what we're supposed to do. If you're going to be arguing or disagreeing about whatever matter, then keep it on topic. Keep it on that. And that's what I did, of course. So there were a few things that he said that I felt were not really appropriate. And let me tell you something before I even get there, is that I've lived here for at least 12 years, okay? And I definitely know what prejudice is, right? Obviously, you guys know that if you've been on my live stream long enough, you've heard me tell stories of some of the things that have happened to me with racist people and prejudiced people and whatever. I experience this almost regularly here. So it's not like I'm like, I don't know what prejudice is. I don't know what it is to be discriminated against. Obviously, myself as a foreigner, much more than many others who don't look like me, actually know what that feels like, okay? So we're not going to pretend that it's a matter of me not understanding, okay? Let's get that out of the way. So the issue that I took with this guy's video, with this gentleman's video, was that he said, oh, look, they lit a Christmas tree on fire in Sichuan because they hate Christmas. This is showing the true feelings of most Chinese people. This is literally what he said in his video. If you want, you can go on WeChat, you can pull up his video, you can see it. He said it by himself. I'm not saying it for him. So my comment was, sir, like, I didn't even say sir or anything insulting either, but I said, wait, so you're saying to me, you're seeing one video of a Christmas tree that's on fire in a mall in Sichuan, and your conclusion from this video is that most Chinese people hate foreigners. Most Chinese people hate Christmas, and there's an anti-foreigner rhetoric. Really? Like, this is your conclusion that you got from watching this video? And apparently I was wrong for pointing that out, because I said, if you consider what most means, right? What does most mean in the context of what he is talking about? Most means more than 1 billion people. Okay, more than 1 billion people. You're saying more than 1 billion people have this feeling as a true feeling? Interesting. Now, this is my speculation. First of all, I think that most people, in fact, here don't even know what the hell Christmas is. Honestly speaking, like, from what I understand, you either must have some sort of integration with Western culture or language or English, whatever, to even have an idea of what Western holidays even are. So that's my first thing, is like, actually, there's no way I can believe that most folks are going to even know what Christmas is here. Actually, I don't think so. I don't believe it. That's the first thing. But let's put that aside. Let's pretend that every single person in China knows what Christmas is, right? Let's go ahead and pretend. Even if that were the case, let's pretend that he's right. Even if that were the case, my question now becomes how or why, as an Asian, Eastern based, non religious country, for what reason, as Westerners, should we feel entitled for, doesn't matter if it's China, Japan, Korea, Philippines, Thailand, you name it. For what reason, for us as Westerners, do we feel so obliged that we believe Asians need to celebrate Christmas? So this is what I'm talking about, entitlement. All right. So let's assume that I'm wrong. Let's assume that I'm wrong and that he's right. Why? Why do you think that if Asians are not celebrating Christmas, it means that they hate foreigners? I don't understand that. How do those things come together? How does that work? Because I grew up most of my life in the US. Let me start there, right? For other parts of my life, I lived in other countries, okay? For a time, I lived in South America. Now, you can say a lot of countries in South America may also celebrate Christmas. One of the countries where I lived in South America did not celebrate Christmas. In fact, they celebrated something called Three Kings, Tres Reyes, Three Kings Day. So Three Kings is also, well, Three Kings in particular is actually very religious based. I would say Three Kings is more legitimate than even Christmas. And I'll explain why in a little bit. And so I found it odd, my first year living there in South America, in this country on the islands. I found it odd. I was like, oh, they don't have Christmas trees and like Christmas celebrations and things like that. And it made sense. It's like, oh, this is actually not part of their tradition. It's not actually part of their culture. Instead of celebrating Christmas, they celebrate Three Kings Day. Okay, now it all makes sense. So when we come to Asia and we look at Asia's holiday in respect, okay, they have the Lunar New Year, right? Or Chinese New Year. So, okay, all fine and well. Now, does this mean that people in Asia cannot celebrate Christmas because they have their own holidays? No, that's nonsense. Absolutely not. If you're in Asia or you live in Asia or you are an Asian person, of course, you can celebrate Christmas if you want to. It's your prerogative, right? It doesn't matter. Now, where we draw the line, and we need to draw the line, is that as Westerners, or as anyone, it really doesn't matter, Westerners or otherwise, but as anyone outside of the culture, outside of the tradition, we should not feel so entitled to say like, oh, well, if they're not celebrating Christmas, then this is a bad sign. This is a sign of the end times. Like, it doesn't make sense. Now, I'm definitely going to get into reinforcing a lot of my points. I'm just not going to just sit like that, okay? So first of all, in my last 12 years in China, it was very funny because the guy said, oh, if you're a content creator and you don't understand this, like why this is a problem, then you must not integrate well. This is what he responded to me. And I said, my dude, I've lived here twice as long as you have, and I speak 4 languages. Please don't make any excuses about integration. This is not about anything personal about me or personal about you. It's about the subject at hand, okay? So let's stick to the subject at hand. So here's the thing. When it comes to Christmas, even if you're talking about Christmas as a religious or a non-religious thing, Christmas comes from somewhere. Christmas obviously comes from somewhere. It doesn't come out of thin air, and it sure as hell is not related to Jesus's birthday. That's really not a thing. So Christmas is what we would call a pagan holiday. And it's something that, let's say, for lack of a better word, it's something that was sort of appropriated into religion, into Christianity, to be able to sort of convert the Romans or the Greeks. Why? In that time period, in late December, the Romans had a feast, a festival called Saturnalia. So Saturnalia is like when you're giving thanks or praise to the god of Saturn, which is supposed to be like, well, what is it? He's like the god of agriculture or something like that. So if you want to have like a good harvest, I think that you're supposed to praise him. I don't know. I'm not a Roman, right? I don't know what the actual tradition is. But the point is, Christianity appropriated this holiday and other elements from other things, implemented it into Christianity, and then celebrated this as Christmas, as being the birth of Christ and all this stuff. All right, all fine and well. If we're looking at the holiday, in the religious context, right, then it makes even more sense why it wouldn't be celebrated here, why we shouldn't feel entitled to celebrate it here. Because obviously, if you are looking at it as a religious holiday, this is not a Christian country. It does not make sense to celebrate Christmas here. And if people do or people don't, that's their own business, but it's not something that we should look at as a negative thing if they don't celebrate it, or if people are against celebrating it. That is their prerogative. Okay? It's not our country. Simple as that. Let's pretend we're not looking at it as a religious holiday now. Let's look at it as just a general holiday that people do to come together as family, have a good time, give gifts to one another, all this other stuff. Even if we're looking at it from that perspective, then in reality, Christmas is no different from 11/11 or early or whatever in that sense, right? In the non-religious context. Because in the non-religious context, then Christmas is the same as at 11/11. Because it's going to be mostly marketing. That's it. Mostly marketing, getting the last quarter sales for most of these businesses. That's really what it ends up becoming. One thing that I thought was very telling was, for example, when I went to France about a month ago, I saw all over the place, they had like the Black Friday sale thing going on. The Black Friday sale is not a European thing, not even a little bit. Black Friday is 100% an American phenomenon. Let's call it that. It happens literally the Friday right after Thanksgiving. Immediately after Thanksgiving. This is the Black Friday holiday. And after that, we have something called Cyber Monday. Black Friday and Cyber Monday are both just to make money, just to get sales, to throw out the last bit of stock that you have at the end of the year so that you can get new things coming in January. How do I know? Because I worked in retail in the United States for at least 4.5 years. We know that it's just a marketing scheme. So Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and Christmas are all mostly treated the same way. It's really just an opportunity to get out some merchandise that you don't want to have sitting on your shelves from the previous year so that you can get the new stuff in the following year. So that's why everything's supposed to be like 50% off or whatever. So this is what we're looking at. No matter which angle I'm looking at it in, I cannot find the reasoning behind it. Like, people in China not celebrating Christmas means that they hate foreigners. I don't see that. I really don't see that. But like I said, here's the thing. I can be wrong. Maybe it is a really scary sign or whatever it is. Okay, sure. Let's assume that it is. So within the comments of that video, of course, I said to people, listen, if you think I am wrong, that is okay. I'm okay with being wrong because at least that allows me to learn something new. Now, what I would like for you to do, what I invite you to do is look at my comment and tell me which parts or which part of my comment is wrong, because I made several points. I've made several points about this issue. So if you can highlight for me which part is wrong and how would you correct it, that would be amazing. Let's have a conversation. Unfortunately, no one actually responded. I had at least 3 people tell me I was wrong for it, but I was like, okay, that's cool. I respect that. I literally said, hey, bro, I respect that. Thanks a lot. Can you tell me which part is wrong? Correct me then. But no one corrected me. So it's like, okay, let's have this conversation and see what's going on. All right, I'll catch up with the comments right now. Oh, if you're on YouTube, by the way, I cannot see comments right now. I have some adjustments to do for YouTube. Oh my God, I love this. Okay, so this gentleman says, because America doesn't use the lunar calendar, it doesn't make sense for Chinese New Year to be celebrated in the US. That is interesting. Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. You're right, you're right. But I don't know, I never made that point. But do you see us torching, let me see, but do you see us torching paper dragons New Year's display in Chinatown? Oh, dude, this is funny. This is funny. So this is what I was saying at the beginning of the live stream. I said there are a lot of basic assumptions that are being made. And one of those basic assumptions, because it's an assumption, not a fact, is that someone lit a Christmas tree on fire. Like we are torching Christmas trees in China for fun. No one has proof of that. This is the number one thing I want to point out. Because we already know that Christmas trees and electrical fires are a regular thing. That's number one. Number two, the fact that there is a giant Christmas tree in Sichuan in a mall should be more than enough evidence to put those things aside. I've never been to a mall in the United States where there's a giant freaking dragon in the middle of the new year. I've never in my life. I've never been in the United States in a mall where there's a giant Chinese display or Asian display of anything that's not anime related. Maybe there's like a giant Goku or Naruto or something like that. Yeah, that's fine. But there is no celebration outside of Chinatown. There is no celebration of anything Asian tradition that I see in a mall in the United States. I've lived in the US for more than 20 years. So please feel free to correct me and show me examples otherwise. To add to that, I'm pretty sure the people who put up the giant Christmas tree in the mall in Sichuan, I'm 99.9% sure that those people were Chinese. So, what are we talking about, folks? So, apples to oranges. This is not equivalent. This is literally not an equivalent conversation. But you know what? Yeah, it's funny because I was like, I don't celebrate any holidays either. Iris. Mission. So thank you, Mission. So Mission says Target has a whole section for Chinese New Year. So Target, the mall, like not a mall, Target is a department store, right? And they have a whole thing for Chinese New Year. So you're telling me that they're selling stuff, right? Because it's a department store. So they're selling goods for Chinese New Year. Like that makes sense. I don't see like the overlap here. Yes. What I'm talking about is having a giant decoration that makes you no money. A giant Western, either religious or non-religious decoration in the center of your mall in China. Isn't that a sign? Wouldn't that actually be a sign of the opposite? Wouldn't that be a sign that you have a lot of Chinese folks who are actually embracing Western holidays if they're putting a giant freaking Christmas tree in the middle of their mall? Come on now. I wonder, dude, I need to get your name, whatever your name is, so I don't just say like you or this guy. I can actually speak to you, say your name directly. No, this is also very true, right? So if you go to the western end of China, you also have different traditions and different holidays that they're going to celebrate as opposed to the eastern end, the southern and the northern, especially the western end of China. The western end of China is going to be very, very different. So that's totally understandable. I can definitely see that. So what I'm saying is, the whole big spiel here is that if for you as a Chinese person, okay, I'm going to say it like this. For you as a Chinese person, if you are a Chinese person and you are in the United States and you get offended because people are not trying to celebrate the Lunar New Year, then you are entitled. Simple as that. So if you're a Westerner and you are in China and you are offended that some Chinese people don't want to celebrate Christmas, you are entitled. Simple as that. Because there is no reason for them to do that. If they do, that is fine. That's great. That's awesome, because a lot of people do. But you should not be entitled to believe like it's a necessity. Like it doesn't make sense. Good morning, sir. 早上好. But like I said, I'm always open to be corrected, so feel free to do so. Give me a let me get this, Jen. Hey, I don't know this person's name. Look, I don't know your name, but typically I don't take calls, but it seems that you have a lot more information and a lot more to say in this regard. So I would definitely like to invite you to call in if you can, and we can discuss this. I would definitely love to discuss this live. Because like I said, if you think I'm wrong or anybody thinks I'm wrong, I'm happy for that, because you have the opportunity to correct me and I have the opportunity to learn. But I can't see their name. I just see like something like K. It looks like just K. You can try, just because we're in voice only, because I know for video it won't let you comment, but you can try just calling anyway, because it might let you through, because this is strictly voice. And if it doesn't work, fine, it doesn't work, it's okay. But we tried, that's the point. Let me see, can I? If I was on the computer, I would just be able to send you an invitation, and maybe that would work, but let me see. I need to find your name on the list, which might be a little bit hard to do with 100 and something people in here. Let me see. 1 second, dude. No, I don't see it. Wow, it's not even, they don't even have you on the invitation list. That sucks. Just checking over. Oh, actually, there you go. All right, I sent you an invitation. I don't know if it's gonna let you accept it or not, but I sent you an invitation. I'm gonna call you Kala for now. I'm gonna call you Cola because I don't know your name. I sent him an invitation, but I'm not sure if the platform is actually gonna let him accept it. See, ladies and gentlemen, I definitely understand the prejudice, especially as a content creator, of course. But this is not one of them. All right, I'm assuming it's not letting you join. Yeah, that nonsense. Don't you love it? All right, cool. Anyway, so here's the matter. I don't know how long you've been in the room, right? If you were here from the beginning or not, but I'm going to do a very quick recap. So the recap is like this. There's another content creator that made a video specifically talking about the Christmas tree in Sichuan and the Christmas tree being on fire, so on and so forth. And my comment to him, because he was saying like, oh, this shows the true feeling of most Chinese people and that they are anti-foreigner, blah, 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 blah. So my issue is that, hey, that's a very bold statement that you see one video of a Christmas tree on fire in Sichuan and you jumped so many levels to say this is the true feeling of most people in China towards Westerners. This is my issue. This is what I'm talking about here. So I'm not sure if you got that part of the conversation or if you came in after that. So this is what I'm addressing, and then we're going point by point, talking about like, how do you go from like a 1 to a 10? Not even a 10, I would even say a 20 because of the Christmas tree. So is it possible? Here's the thing though. Is it possible? Absolutely. I'm not saying it is impossible, but the fact of the matter is that you actually have There is no supporting evidence to this. This is the first thing, number one. Even if there was, number two, whoever put up that Christmas tree is obviously also Chinese. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure there wasn't a group of Westerners that went to the mall in Sichuan and said, hey, we're going to put a giant Christmas tree here and celebrate Christmas. No, obviously Chinese people did that. So it's like, on the one hand, you're trying to say they're anti-foreigner because the Christmas tree was on fire. But on the other hand, the very people who put up those decorations and put up the tree and celebrating Christmas were also Chinese. So it's like, one of these things doesn't work with the other. Okay, feel free. Talk about it. Let me know. I'll have to, since I can't get him on a call, we can't like effectively have a back and forth. So we'll get back to it as he writes messages and we'll read it. Okay, so the other thing that I wanted to add to this is like, from the time that I've been here, like now 11 to 12 years, something like that, there has always been this thing that I call the Lawai effect, the foreigner effect, right? Where for some reason, I don't know, you guys can guess, for some reason, whenever there's a foreigner involved in any sort of product or marketing or service or this or that, somehow it brings up the price. Somehow it makes it more attractive or more marketable. Is that changing? I definitely think it's changing and it's fine. But this has always been the case since before 2010, you know? So my whole point is like, we've taken literally countless interactions and collaborations with Westerners or foreigners in China, countless positive interactions, conversations, partnerships, contracts, whatever, and ignored all of that and said like, hey, there's a Christmas tree on fire and Chinese people don't want to celebrate Christmas, so that means they hate Westerners. And you know what happens is that when people make those big blanket statements, you're like, okay, so you're saying that more than 1 billion people have this sentiment. Okay, sure. The only thing it reminds me of is the same rhetoric that people make against, let's say, when we're talking about people coming from south of the border to America. They're like, oh, you know, people who are immigrating to the US are all criminals. They're bringing criminals, they're bringing rapists. You know what I'm talking about. Or, oh yeah, black people are dangerous. Or Muslims are terrorists. And it's like, oh, okay, sure. So we're going to make a blanket statement, cover hundreds of millions, in this case, billions of people, and say like, yeah, this is how they feel. Now, my question is like, tell me, what is the positive result that we get, right? What is the progress that we're making by having those blanket statements? How does that help our situation in any way, shape, or form? Because we know it's not true. We know it's incorrect, but we still say this kind of stuff. How does that help us? Oh yeah, I'm getting into it, Bax. No, I can't hear anybody on the Discord side right now. The tree, irrespective of the. Okay, let me see here. So he says, look at all the comments on the video. In the video, irrespective of the weather or not, for was it accidental. Maybe might have to fix that up a little bit. They need to send a really clear message. Yeah, I might need you to clear that up a little bit because there's not enough. I don't think there's enough content for me to make sense from it. But what I'm understanding is Cola. I don't know his name, so I'm calling him Cola. Cola is saying that when you look at the comments in relationship to that video, that you'll see either a lot of hate comments and a lot of anti-foreigner comments or whatever. And to that, you know what I say? Welcome to the internet. Welcome to the internet, my friends. Surprise, you found hate comments on the internet. So, you know what I thought was really funny as well was that the person who was making those similar comments, just like you, Cola, on that video about the Sichuan Christmas tree, this guy has videos. First of all, he said, oh, there were like 10,000 likes or 20,000 likes on those comments, on like those hate comments related to Christmas or related to Western tradition, blah, 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 which they don't belong here in the first place. But okay, sure. This same guy, if you go through his channel, you find that he also has several videos of his that have tens of thousands, 20,000, 30,000 likes. Now, my question for you, are those likes coming from Westerners or are they coming from Chinese people? Because it's on WeChat. I would argue that most of his tens of thousands of likes on his videos of him and his Western face doing his Western stuff is also from Chinese people. So if we're going to use, the likes and the comments as a sort of gauge of whether or not there's hate or love for a certain thing, well, his own channel says otherwise. Right? It's like, well, if that's your gauge, then your channel is a contradiction to your own bias. The thought or saying was the little pigs are against Christmas. Mission. If there's a person, right? If we're gonna make this assumption, we'll make this assumption. We don't know this for a fact. Let's make this assumption that there's a guy, some random kid or man or person decided to light the Christmas tree on fire because they hated Christmas or they hated. How many videos haven't we seen of people lighting random shit on fire? How many videos haven't we seen of people doing this stuff? Either doing something really ridiculous, like putting fire down a manhole and then it exploding, or lighting the edge of a cart or something like this that ends up becoming a giant fire or a factory fire because someone decided to play with a lighter. Like, there's so many assumptions being made by this, and it's ridiculous. But I digress. Even if that person did it intentionally, this person went to the mall in Sichuan and said, there's a Christmas tree here. I hate Westerners. I hate Christmas. I'm going to light it on fire. Even if that did happen, that is still an example of, hypothetically, if it did, that is still an example of one person doing a really stupid fucking thing. Quite literally this. I'm reading the next set of comments, Mission, just so you know. So one for advertising, slept with 1,000, They show the video. That is why the little have out the foreigners. Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about, Mission. I know what you're talking about. But I'd also challenge you to do the same thing in South America. Do the same thing in South America. Do the same thing in an African country. It doesn't really matter. But you're also not going to receive a welcome mat for saying things like that. Let me see. Good morning. Results in crime. The Westerners celebrate the Chinese New Year? No. Okay, let me see. Alex says, do Westerners celebrate the Chinese New Year? No. Then why should Chinese need to celebrate the Christmas? Not Christian. Yeah, I've said this already. Alex. I said this already. So I'm not sure, but how people are trying to like have this interesting double standard about it. But I've said this already as well. I get that, Mission. Well, Cola, as far as I know, if I can see your comments, like I can see right now, you can see how I popped it up. If I can see your comments, your comment is not being filtered here, at least. Not in this podcast or this live stream. Maybe it's being filtered somewhere else in some comment sections or whatever. But as long as I can see it, I can tell you it's not being filtered. Right, but that's my point. Yes, exactly, Mission. Got you. Okay, I like that. Cola, dude, you need to correct me on your name eventually. So Cola says that's why the hate is so unanimous, because this platform is not a fair way to judge the actual public opinion. So actually, the platform where the guy was talking about the comments in the video, it was actually on Weibo, not on WeChat. Just so you know, the WeChat might look a little bit different. Excuse me. The unanimous hate we see is the message they want to be pushed out on WeChat. That's why there are no non-hate comments. Are you sure about that? Dude, I'm not sure we're looking at the same thing, because when I was going through it, I found plenty of non-hate comments. So I'm finding it hard to believe that you seen these videos and you didn't find any comments that were not hateful or saying otherwise, because I sure as hell did. So, no judgment on you personally. I'm just saying this could just be a matter of you see what you want to see, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and sorry guys, I just blocked this dude because he's just saying a bunch of nonsense, not even related to the topic. So I just blocked him. I'm tired. Like, I don't want to put up with it. But hey, dude, by the way, I do want to say like, big ups to Cola. I don't know your name again, but as you can see, like, me and Cola disagree, and me and Mission are like half disagreeing, whatever. And we can do that. We can do that. We can disagree with each other, and we can point out whatever our points are, and we don't need to cuss at each other. We don't need to make names and like be stupid about it. Like, you can have a civil conversation with somebody and disagree. It's not that big of a deal. So I don't know what this other guy's doing, like Chris. I know who Chris is. He's pretty infamous on the live stream community. I don't know what he's doing or what his point is, but just spamming a bunch of nonsense messages is not a way to get your message across. And I'm just not, I'm not going to bother wasting my time addressing his comments because they're not even related to the topic. Oh, Lucas. Okay, Lucas. Okay. Gotcha. Thank you, Iris. Yes, I just saw it. Oh my goodness. I don't know what happened in the comments section. It just started degenerating because of him. Working on it. Anyway, so let's carry on. Let's carry on the topic. Give me a second. So we went over definitions, and we're going to talk a little bit more on the pros and cons. I'm going to go through the talking points verbatim. And also, Lucas, or if anybody else, if you want to bring up any other points, we can definitely still discuss it. I'm just going to go over some other talking points until then. So, pros of entitlement. So I wanted to get to this controversial part of the pros of entitlement. So I will read it verbatim based on the talking points I have noted. So, confidence and assertiveness, sometimes feeling entitled, can drive people to ask for what they want or take charge of their situation. In a way, it gives them confidence. So I would definitely say this is true. Sometimes, a lot of the time, you have people who are very talented, very intelligent, or really just really good at something, right? And unfortunately, the lack of confidence that they may have or lack of reinforcement of their skill or their talent makes it so that they can't actually like pursue it or go any further with that skill or with that talent. So I can see why in some ways entitlement can be helpful. It can be helpful to a person who feels entitled to something just based on what they've worked hard on, their skill. I'm very reluctant to say that when it's an entitlement based on something you were born with, though. Because it's like entitlement based on something you were born with is not a great thing. But that's just my opinion. Maybe I didn't have enough things to be entitled about. So let's see. I've definitely have seen this around the world, but my biggest example is probably Paris. But let me move on. Let me move on. All right. Standards and boundaries. Entitlement can help some people set clear boundaries. I know my worth and I won't settle for less. You know, minus the entitlement, I would definitely say, maybe I'm just wrong and stupid for this, but minus the entitlement, I would definitely say I agree with this, right? I know my worth and I won't settle for less. There's been many times in my life, anecdotal as hell, right? There's been many times in my life where I settled for less. You can look at it as settle for less in terms of a job, a salary, a contract, a relationship partner, whatever it is. And every single time I settled, I had a disappointing result. Very disappointing result. Each and every time. So eventually I decided I will not settle for less. If I just cannot get what I believe I actually deserve based on what I've worked for, right? Or based on where I am, then I just will not take it, regardless of what it is. A job, relationship, contract, deal, whatever. I definitely would agree in a sense, this type of entitlement I think is actually good. If you worked really hard, let's say you've been working at a company for 5 years or something like this, and you've actually had really good results. You have results that you can quantify, that you can show. And you say, hey, look, based on the work that I've done and based on what I'm capable of, you can see I have a long track record. I have all of the examples done. This is what I'm worth. Honestly speaking, this is what I'm worth, and that's where I want to be met. And then at that point, if they don't want to meet you there, then it's time to move on and find something new. That's how I see it. I would even add, I would not wait until the point comes where you need to have a conversation of whether, hey, can I be compensated the way I deserve? Like, I don't even think we need to wait to get to that point. You should already have better offers lined up before you even get to that conversation. That's how I see it. I could be wrong for that, but it's okay. Oh, that's interesting. Hmm. Interesting. Let me help you out. Let me help you out, Andrew. Got you, buddy. There you go. So next bit, ambition and drive. Feeling entitled to success or recognition can motivate people to work harder, believing they deserve the best. I'm not sure about that. If you feel entitled, I feel like this is a different thing. This is not the same as feeling entitled. Sometimes, for example, if you have a sibling or a parent who's very well recognized and very well respected, you may feel pressure to live up to that name or live up to whatever it is that they did. So I believe like, yeah, that's a real thing. That could be a real driver, but I would not call that entitlement. Because entitlement feels more like I said, I could be wrong, but definition wise, like entitlement feels more like I should get something just because I am so and so, not because you actually earned it. So Cons of entitlement. We're going to get through this one and then we will close for today, ladies and gentlemen. Cons of entitlement. Complacency. Believing you deserve things without putting in the work can create a sense of entitlement that leads to laziness. 100% agree with this. 100% agree with this. Yes, if you feel that like, oh, you're not going to face any consequences, or you can't be fired, or you can't lose anything because your daddy is so-and-so or your mommy is so-and-so. Yes, that sort of complacency can definitely lead a person to become lazy, to become basically worthless. So yeah, I can definitely see that. Next bit, inability to adapt. Entitled people can get defensive when things don't go their way, refusing to learn from failure or adjust their approach. I think this is it's all running up to the same point, right? Where it's like, hey, if mommy and daddy or whatever already have these things, they already have success, then why should I change anything? Why should I do any better? I think like this is a challenge that a lot of people who have, let's say, I don't know, 50-year-old family companies that are really successful, and then they have to get someone to run the company. They're like, oh, I want my son or my daughter to take leadership of this company. Then for them, it becomes pretty challenging because a lot of the times their kids don't live up to those expectations, or it could be that, or they don't want to continue the family name. They don't actually want to pick up where their parents left off. So you have two challenges that you're dealing with here. But under the assumption that they do, like let's say, for example, the Walmart family, right? Under the assumption that the next heiress of the Walmart legacy does want to take it on, right? They do want to be the leader. If they don't work hard enough to continuously innovate or improve or evolve with the times, right? Then eventually the company is going to fall behind and, just disperse. And so this is essentially why entitlement is a very dangerous thing, because it becomes a sort of multi-generational issue of, if things have always worked this way, then they are always going to work this way. But we know that's very far from the truth. Coffee. What about coffee? Okay, let's see. Next one, toxic relationships. Expecting too much from others without understanding their perspective can lead to friction in personal and professional relationships. Well, at the risk of sounding like a red pillar, yes, there are many situations where people feel entitled to certain things just because of their sex or just because of their gender. So I definitely agree that this is also very, very true. This is a standard of a toxic relationship where it's like purely off of your gender, you decide that you are entitled to certain things. Yeah. Got you out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I have some stuff to do. So we're gonna leave it at that. We're gonna stop here. And I want to say, hey, if you enjoyed the conversation, make sure you hit that follow button. 关注一下，谢谢你, right? Hit that follow button. And let's see, tomorrow morning, we're going to continue on the topic of entitlement. And hopefully we don't need to touch this Christmas tree issue ever again. But quite frankly, I would just put it like this, guys. We need to be more self-centered. And I always say this. We need to worry more about ourselves. What people are doing in general is not really consequential unless you're talking about economics. Economics, yes, it is very consequential. But here's the thing. When you are focused on yourself, when you're being selfish with your time and improving yourself, no matter what, you're going to get progress. You're going to make progress. You're going to either gain intellectually or physically or materialistically. It doesn't matter. But when you focus on yourself, when you're selfish with your time, you spend more time learning, improving, and tracking yourself. That's what's going to actually lead us to a better situation in the future. Even as a group, even as a whole, working on yourself individually is going to make a huge difference. So let's sit with that. Like I always say, look at every challenge as a learning opportunity, every disagreement as a learning opportunity, because why not? That's should be the only reason why you're disagreeing with people, because you're trying to learn something. You're trying to understand where are the flaws in your own ideas and your own logic. Like myself, I definitely feel I have plenty of those, right? So if we can learn, that's number one. That's where it's at. So, ladies and gentlemen, with that, stay beautiful, stay amazing, and I will see you tomorrow. Peace. Bye-bye. Loser. Oh, yeah. Okay. Why you go into people's live streams just spamming comments? It just doesn't make sense. People got time.